Nvidia and AMD have agreed to hand 15% of China chip sales revenue to the US government. A revenue sharing deal. Nvidia and AMD have agreed to provide the US government with 15% of their chip sales revenues in China, specifically from the H20 and MI308 chips, as part of export license negotiations. A first of its kind arrangement, the deal is unprecedented. Export control experts say no previous US firm had ever agreed to share revenue with the US government in exchange for export licenses.
Let's address this Nvidia and AMD part of it first, because it really is new. Almost uncharted territory, is it?
Yeah, it is, Scott. It's a new tax of sorts on American companies who want to get export licenses from the U.S. government. We had a fascinating discussion live in the briefing room by the president. He explained how he came to this deal. He said he was meeting with Jensen Huang here at the White House, and Huang wanted the permission from the federal government to sell these chips in China. The president said he asked him for 20% of the revenue. Said, if I'm going to do this for you, I need 20%. A strictly, transactional approach to sort of what the federal regulations are here. He said Huang came back to him and said, well, can we make that 15%? And they were willing to cut a deal on that. And so that does raise the question, Scott, of sort of how much these export licenses will cost other companies if that's going to be the U.S. government's approach to sort of any kind of regulatory interaction with companies. If the U.S. government is doing a deal that benefits a company, does that company have to kick back a certain percentage in tax back to the federal treasury?
The chip that we're talking about, the H20, it's an old chip. China already has it in a different form, different name. Jensen also has a new chip, the Blackwell. Do you know what the Blackwell is? The Blackwell is super duper advanced. I wouldn't make a deal with that, although it's possible I'd make a deal, a somewhat enhanced in a negative way Blackwell. In other words, take 30% to 50% off of it. But that's the latest and the greatest in the world. Nobody has it. They want.
The U.S. Commerce Department began issuing export licenses for both Nvidia's H20 and AMD's China-bound chips after what appears to be an executive negotiation between company leadership and government officials. If you recall, China and the U.S. are both in trade negotiations. U.S. officials confirmed they have not yet decided how the proceeds from the revenue-sharing arrangement will be allocated. The arrangement fits a broader pattern under the Trump administration, in which companies are taking financial or domestic investment actions to secure favorable regulatory outcomes. The deal comes amid heightened export restrictions targeting advanced AI chips, showing the strategy of national security controls and financial incentives. The processors were originally banned because U.S. export controls restrict the sale of high-performance AI chips to China. This is largely due to national security concerns. Specifically, the U.S. government is trying to prevent advanced processors, like Nvidia's H20, from being used in Chinese military, surveillance, and advanced AI applications. These restrictions stem from a series of tightening measures since 2022, which lowered the performance thresholds for chips allowed to be sold in China. This could lead to more potential agreements. The revenue sharing arrangement with Nvidia and AMD shows that financial concessions might be used as a bargaining chip for export approvals in the future. If the US government views this as an effective way to maintain control while still allowing some trade, other tech firms could be pushed towards similar licensing deals to keep access to the Chinese market. Let me know your thoughts.